things, and like I said, that's where my appreciation for new music, new genres come about, and new experiences. So it was just a new part of my life, and I suppose life doesn't stay the same. You're always meeting new things, seeing new things, so it was just the next step sort of thing.
Life's organic, there's always new things happening and new things popping up in ways you're being challenged.
Yeah.
So, but let's talk about like things changing. Like a big game changer obviously in the music industry was the internet.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts around the pros, cons and things you've seen?
Yeah, I'm of the old school vibe where it definitely killed the music industry, but then there's this new way where it's a lot more accessible, so people that would have never been exposed to the masses are now getting listeners. So it goes both ways, but as far as making money goes, it's taken a lot of revenue from the artists, for sure. You just got to be smart now, and people are coming up with new ways and stuff. But in the past, before the internet, you could bring out your album and you could actually make good money off that shit. Now people just get your album for free, so you have to be out on the road. That's how you make your money these days. But in saying that, man, I use the internet a lot to find new artists, so I can't bag it too much. It goes both ways.
Yeah, and then with your other art, your other love with the acting stuff, how do you think the internet's played a bit of a role there too?
I don't know, man. Like, what do you mean?
Like, so I mean, the same thing. If people can, I guess, with the albums and stuff, they can do a lot of downloading and things like that.
I suppose I don't worry too much about that. That's like what the people who make the movies got to worry about. I just do my job, get paid, and I'm like, okay, they've got their whole marketing team. I just got to worry about putting on a okay performance. So I haven't actually worried about that too much. But yeah, same thing. I watch a lot of movies on the internet myself. In that aspect, for me, I like it. Because I watch a shitload of movies. I love movies. So
you're on the road heaps too, so it probably helps you wind down a bit a lot.
Yeah. But same thing. It's killed the movie industry as well. As far as revenue and money coming in, man, people are not even making 10% of what they used to do in the heyday for music and for movies.
So you said when your time up north, when you first kind of started writing and things like that, but were you like mucking around with a lot of music in your spare time before that? Like even when you were at Chote and things like that, were you having a tutu with the guitar and things?
Yeah, I was kind of late to the guitar. Well, late as in like 15. Most people start playing when they're like 9, 10 or whatever. But it was out of necessity. I think it was 1 year at the end of the year when the seniors go early, and we had a few co-papa coming up and we had no guitarist, so I could play a couple of chords, but then that's kind of where I just had to jump into the guitar through necessity. And I never thought of myself as a singer. I just grew up through kapaka, and everyone just sung and everyone could sing harmonies. And it wasn't actually until I moved up to Kirikiri where someone was singing, I'll jump on a harmony, and my mate's like, how do you know where to go? And I was like, don't you just know where to go?
Yeah.
Like, and that's when I realised, man, it must be just built into Māori DNA or Polynesian DNA that harmonies just run through our blood.
It's a perfect example, of how, it's funny how a lot of the times, I find it, I don't want to say frustrating, but for lack of a better word for now, I guess frustrating, people ask me to teach them something, but I don't know how to teach it. I can do it because it's something I've been brought up with and something I've been a part of from my environment and innately. But then they're like, oh, you should teach me how to do that. It's like, I don't know how. It just happens.
I don't know either, bro.
Because it happens a lot. Even with speaking to the Aussie, I didn't learn in the classroom. I learned a lot, same as what you're saying, growing up through kura kaupapa and stuff like that. And people will say, I've got mates that are studying te reo now. And they'll be like, oh, bro, what does this mean? And I'll be like, well, it could mean this, but it could also mean this, and it could also mean that. And they're like, oh, just give me one. I'm like, well, it's a poetic language, bro. That's the beauty about our reo, is that one of the many beauties about our reo. is that it's poetic. So are you a big reo speaker in your own time?
No, I'm not. It's not where I want it to be. And it kind of is a case of use it or lose it. Like, I don't know. I have been in the last year trying to, especially with my younger kids, trying to speak more reo at home. And all my kids can understand it, but like I'll talk to them in Māori and they'll reply in English, you know what I mean? But then my younger two are a little bit better. But I feel a bit bad that I hadn't pushed it from the start. Because my oldest is 16 now, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
did you ever get anyone when you were younger trying to like school you up? Like, did you have a nanny or an uncle or someone that was like, come on boy, like, or
no. I don't know. It was real easy when I was younger. And now I'll do interviews and they'll be like, do you want to do it in Te Reo or English? And I'll be like, if you want to do it in Te Reo, give me the questions beforehand so I can think of some better in-depth answers. Otherwise I'll just be talking and get stumped on stupid ass words that have just gone out of my vocabulary.
It's not even that too. Like, there's many ways to, like, I get caught out, bro. Like, there's many ways to interpret one word. So they might mean A, but you're thinking E, F, or G, and then they can change the whole sentence.
But I especially with my baby, he just turned 2. We made a conscious decision of talking more reo
at home.
But it could be a lot better. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. So can I ask like you said that you kind of the word that you actually used, and I don't think you should use it, to be honest, but like you said, you feel bad. Can you elaborate on that? What makes you feel a bit stink about it, or why do you think it's important that people should know?
Yeah, well, it's who we are. You know what I mean? I just feel bad that I haven't given my children that leg up and being bilingual, being able to speak 2 languages confidently and fluently. It's not too late. But they say the first 2 years are the most important, or 5 years. So I feel like I missed that window of opportunity to make it to be easier. Doesn't mean that it can't be done. It just means you got to work a little bit harder. Yeah.
So any, like, besides Māori, bro, do you have any other like ancestry?
I don't know, bro.
No, haven't looked into it?
I need to.
Yeah.
I need to. I think my nan was Danish. But I don't know, bro. I want to do one of those DNA tests.
I haven't done one yet either, bro, but I'm keen as. I actually got a chance.
My wife did one, and I can't remember. She had some freaky stuff in there. So it'll be good to see how. I don't know.
I actually did a podcast episode with the fellow that started Ancestry.com.
Oh,
so
true.
I haven't published it yet. But I only just did it a few weeks ago.
Oh, cool.
One
Where's
thing led to another. From Canada.
Wow.
Yeah. We jumped on the old Google Hangouts and did our... That way, it's weird how it all happened together. But, yeah, man, like, how it kind of started was he's got artwork up, and it's like a blown up version of his DNA strand. And people kind of started asking about that, and then kind of one thing led to another, and that's how he started helping people out get to their thing. Something along those lines, anyway.
Is that his DNA picture on their thing?
On his wall. Yeah. Oh, I don't know if it's their one that they use for their marketing and stuff. Nah, but he's like, people could blow up their own DNA strands and put it on their wall, which would be pretty good. That's something else I'd be keen to do too. But reason why I was asking, bro, if you had any other lineage in there or any other ancestry in there, is because there's a lot of kōrero happening at the moment around, the term Kiwis or being a Kiwi, and there's there's always more than 2 sides, but the 2 main arguments is people all for it because it unifies us, like whether you're Māori, Pākehā or whatever. Obviously, we're a multicultural country, but then there's also those people that don't like it because they think it takes away from the whakapapa that existed before that term.
Yeah.
You know, like our history starting at the word Kiwi onwards, and forgetting about, like, you know, the Scots that we've got here, the English that we've got here, obviously the Māori and all that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts around that? I'm not asking you to pick a side.
Yeah.
Just what are your thoughts around that term Kiwi and those two arguments, I guess?
I really don't know. Mm. All I know is whenever I'm filling out forms and it says New Zealand Māori, I cross out New Zealand and just have Māori. I don't know if that answers anything, but...
Yeah. You do that a lot when you're travelling?
Anything, forms I fill out.
Because your music as well, bro, seems to, like, carry those sort of messages or themes throughout it, like the whole... I don't want to say backlash, but, you know, there's essence of colonial stuff in there. That's fair to say, eh?
Yeah.
So where does that all come from? And
well, the last album, what is it? Holy Colony, Burning Acres. I'm going to say Shake That Skinny House.
Yeah.
About Holy Colony, Burning Acres. I knew that I was doing this reggae album this time around, and my mates were like, if you're going to do a Tutu reggae album, either has to be about love or politics. So I chose politics, but I don't want to talk about the National Party or whatever. So I went a bit deeper into Māori issues, things that are affecting us. And kind of everything that you see today, the statistics of, you know, the high population of Māori in prisons, living under the poverty line, can all stem back to colonization.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But so that's kind of the big cope of my album. But then I've got a lot of friends overseas, indigenous friends, and we were talking, and then I ended up writing songs about their stories and stuff, and then just realizing,
interesting,
shit, our story is exactly the same.
The thing that makes me hoha when you get talking in a room with a lot of indigenous cultures, it can turn into like but we had it harder. We had it harder. It's like, fuck, man, don't, like, we're all drowning. Don't worry about who's drowning in deeper water.
What do we do now?
Yeah, that's it. Like, but I think we're getting a lot better at unifying rather than just comparing stories. Yeah. But that's interesting, bro. How did, like, so you've got friends that belong to other indigenous cultures. Mm-hmm. Is that how that came about?
Yes.
Yeah. So how did that conversation take place, and what kind of, like, give me, I guess, if you pick on one song or something that you know specifically comes from that conversation, just tell us about how that played out.
Yeah. So we got a lot of friends from, like, North America, Canada, indigenous whānau from
the First Nation brothers,
and just meeting them at indigenous film things over here, and just
true.
You have wānanga, you just sit and just talk about stuff, and there was nothing in particular, and what was it? There was nothing really in particular.
It's probably hard for you to pinpoint because when you get in that flow state, it's hard to pick an exact moment.
Exactly, like.
So you came away from that wānanga and
I just felt compelled to write these wata. Like, that album was actually written in 1 week, and it was like a blur. I come out the other side, and then I'm like, holy shit!
Bro, that is so cool.
I got these 12 songs. And there's a couple of songs I couldn't even remember writing. Like, I kind of do all my writing between 10 and 2 at night. I can't do anything until after 9 when the kids are in bed, and have a little wind down. And
probably, like, to be honest, because I'm very similar with my artistic side. I reckon this is my theory for myself, and it might apply. You might find something similar to this, because I'm so social. If people are around, I want to talk, I want to catch up, I want to guess. But then when that 10 till 2 is when everyone kind of goes to Moi or whatever, and they head off, and I finally get a moment to myself, and I find that a lot of my expression comes out then because I've actually get a moment alone to digest.
And I find that I kind of have to be alone to do stuff as well. Like, I can be with... it's cool to get inspired by jamming with your mates and doing stuff, but as far as making the mahi and doing the mahi, nothing kind of gets done, I feel like, until I'm sitting by myself and I can just digest my thoughts and also run with my thoughts without anyone going, hey, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, I was going to ask, do you think that's more like a disciplinary work ethic thing that you need to be alone, or is it more a vulnerability thing?
Probably a little bit of both. But I think why, like, go back to shake that skinny ass with the waiters, like,